Welcome, IT changemakers, to the DEX Show with Tim Flower and Tom McGraw. Let's get into it.
For the 200th time, changemakers, the 200th time, hello, and welcome to this very, very special episode of the DEX Show. I'm Tom McGraw. I'm joined as ever by Tim Flower. How you doing, Tim? Happy 200th anniversary.
You never would have imagined, Tom, that we'd get 200 episodes.
When I first approached you, I said, do you want to do a podcast? I bet you didn't think, oh yeah, in 200 episodes, we'll still be running.
The idea of the podcast has been floating around for a little while, and it was always kind of this, would anybody really listen? But it's cool. We got an audience and a reason to keep doing it.
And we said in last week's episode that we had all of these like momentous anniversary milestones flying about at once. We had your recent big birthday, as you said, there's a zero involved. We had your 10-year anniversary. We got the 200th episode. And then, of course, we had this incredible news about the new majority stake investor in Nexthink, Vista Equity Partners, coming in, really changing the whole nature of the DEX sector. And we thought, look, what better guest, what better way to mark this momentous period in the show's history and Nexthink's history and the history of DEX than to welcome back onto the show Nexthink co-founder and CEO Pedro Bados, our boss. Welcome back to the show, Pedro. Your third or fourth appearance, I think. What a time to have you back on, sir.
Thank you very much, Tim and Tom, and congratulations, 200 podcasts. That's incredible. I remember the first one, and the initial idea, right, about the DEX show and all that. And here we are, 200. And you are true celebrities of DEX on top of that.
Celebrities of DEX. That's a relative term, but I'll take it. Yeah. Sometimes feel like it. And Pedro, huge congratulations on the big news from Nexthink. Just about a week old, isn't it, in terms of the announcement? What has the period of time been like to you? You did mention to me it was a bit like having a baby, the whole process. It resembled it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, certainly there are news. I don't know if there are big news. This is part of the cycle of every company. So we are changing shareholders every 4 or 5 years. So we had tremendous shareholders, really great people that they were with us for sometimes 10 years, sometimes 5 years. And they did their job, and the company grew, and we got to a point in which we want to go to the next step. We're going to grow, we're going to accelerate, and we thought that Vista Partners are the best partners out there to really take the company to the next level. So we are really excited. We thought that we were not ready right now for an IPO. We see the IPO window, and it's still not great for tech companies, and we're gonna stay private for a few more years. We're gonna make sure the management team is fully committed, and we are all here. And with the right partner, I think we're gonna see more acceleration in the Nexthink landscape. So that's overall very good news for everybody.
Phenomenal. And we're going to focus predominantly on the future of DEX, the future of Nexthink in this discussion. But obviously, we have a lot of customers, partners, Nexthinkers tune into the show. If you had to give them a message about what this news means for the company, the community, the future of the technology in miniature, what would that message be?
Look, I mean, new investors, they invest for different reasons. In this particular case, their investment is really based on growth. It's based on innovation. It's based on category leadership. What they want to do, with the management team, and me personally, still, I'm a very important investor in Nexthink. It's really to take it to the next level. I think we are a category-defined company, as we will discuss today. AI is just an accelerator of companies with data. I think there are some processes in IT and some things that they're going to change in the years to come. And we believe Nexthink is going to play a very important role. And I think these investors, they saw the opportunity. It's really interesting because a lot of people internally at Nexthink, they are telling me, oh, we want to invest more. Can we invest even, alongside these new investors? Because they see the opportunity. From the customer and partner standpoint, honestly, there's not going to be a big change. We're going to continue innovating. They're going to engage with the same teams that they engaged with in the past. As I said, most of the team is going to stay here for the next few years, or maybe all the team. So we are really not much change from that perspective.
And you just alluded to it, the testament to how much opportunity people who invest see in DEX at the moment. And just before, is a springboard really to Tim leading us into a discussion about the future of technology and the future of innovation here. To what extent do you see AI as having impacted the potentiality around DEX as it's perceived by investors, as it's perceived by people who kind of try and measure the future of technology?
Look, my perspective on AI is a way to automate more and better and probably quicker many areas, right, in our daily lives, especially digital areas with LLMs and all that. But this has happened throughout the years with the Industrial Revolution, with cloud computing, with computers. It was all about automation. And obviously, for the first time, we see that we can automate a lot of things, right? When we can automate a lot of search, and all of the sudden we have a coach with ChatGPT, which is giving us the result. We can automate probably service desk. We can automate probably customer service, right? There are things like that that we see really the potential for automation. When it comes to DX, there is a tremendous opportunity because first, we are a data company, and secondly, we are a company that the mission is really a data interception between people and technology, and to make things more effectively, to automate how people they work with digital applications. So obviously, there are two opportunities. One is really to democratize DEX and to give it to people that maybe before it was too difficult for them, like HR, like network, like security. There are a lot of people now, for instance, that they are in charge of AI adoption in companies, that all of a sudden they start using Nexthink because we put AI on top, and therefore they can really use it. Many teams in the past, they couldn't use Nexthink data or DEX data. Now they can use it. But the second big opportunity or tailwind here in DEX and plus AI is really the opportunity to give an DEX agent to every single employee. And when we talk about DEX agent, it's more like an IT agent. So imagine every person in front of a computer has a personal IT manager sitting next to them, which is able to answer any question about anything that is going on in any application that they are using, in any device that they are using. Therefore, they don't need an IT department anymore, right? They're able to, first of all, they're able to not have problems because these systems, they will see them and they will fix them before the users, they notice them. But also, if there is something they want to ask, or if there is any issue, they can ask this agent and they can get it fixed right away. And these are two tremendous opportunities that they are opening up right now with DEX plus AI.
So Pedro, and I like to frame things in kind of a past, present, and future context. So I've got a couple of topics for us to hit on. When I started here 10 years ago, back in 2015. My first all-company meeting was in 2016. I think we were in a couple of conference rooms at the Alpha Palmiers in Lausanne. The product was very much AI-based and machine learning, but it felt kind of hidden underneath the covers as part of the core of what we did as a product, but it wasn't really exposed to IT and certainly not to employees. But let's go back even further. Let's go back another 10 years, back to when you were at the EPFL. You fashioned it, and a lot of people talk about the EPFL as the MIT of Switzerland. You were studying AI. Many listeners know how that research evolved into the prototype that became Nexthink. I know it feels like AI is new to many people in many ways, but what was your perception of AI at that time more than 20 years ago, especially in the terms of how you felt it could impact what we call the digital workforce? What was AI? What was your perception of AI 20 plus years ago?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question because back in the days, 20 years ago, so AI researchers, we were playing with other type of technologies. Back in the days, Bayesian networks, hidden Markov models, reasoning systems, case-based reasoning, things like that. They were very popular. Neural networks, not so much. And actually, neural networks, which is basically the underlying technology of transformers, which are the main component of LLMs. Um, they were somehow mysterious. They were trying to mimic a little bit how the brain works, but obviously the computing power was not there. They were, able to do some computer vision use cases and things like that, very primitive type of use cases. But people thought that putting more intelligence into the way that systems are reasoning was really the way to go. While we just realized with transformers that is not at all the approach. The approach is really brute force, to scale with huge amount of data and huge amount of, uh, power, computing power. That's really the way to go. And in all fairness, transformers, they were more a discovery than really an invention, right? Nobody expected them to really behave in the way that they ended up behaving, and making sense out of a prompt and all this type of thing. So I guess nobody 20 years ago in the AI community was expecting that really neural networks, at least the people that they were in our AI lab at the EPFL, were going to get to the point that they are today. In the case of Nexthink, we were using technologies to model end user behavior. There were more hidden Markov models to basically model the task that a person is doing, which is called a hidden model. And then you have observable states. So basically, you say, okay, I'm now surfing the web. I'm right now working on my emails. I'm now maybe working on a project. These are your hidden states. And based on these hidden states that the model is trying to figure out, there are observable things that you are doing. Okay, I'm doing this connection, I'm doing this execution, I'm looking at this screen, and therefore you are able to model the normal behavior of people in front of computers. It's the typical model that you use, for instance, in credit card fraud detection. They emulate if the person is on holidays or here or there, and therefore they're able to predict. Very different type of models. But also very useful to understand how people they use computers and what is normal and abnormal. So it has changed a lot, and it's still some of these concepts they are at the I would say at the base of the platform of Nexthink, and it's used, and it's the way we model data, and some of this is still very very important for us.
So Nexthink as a company has evolved tremendously over the last 20 years. Our product has evolved over 20 years. Has AI evolved the way you anticipated back then? What surprised or impressed you the most about AI's recent rise over the last couple of years, both in general and in terms of its impact to digital workplace and digital workers? What's your commentary on the evolution of AI?
Well, I think as I said, everybody was surprised with the first ChatGPT 3.0, because 2.0, 2.5, we saw this. Oh wow, this is really a step change, right? This is really something different from everything that we saw before. And nobody was predicting that transformers with brute force, and at least a few years ago was kind of a discovery for them, for a lot of people around the world. So obviously, I was very surprised. Very quickly, we put a team of people at Nexthink to really make sure, because we thought that this is going to change fundamentally the way people they interact with applications. So they don't need to do a dashboard, they don't need to do a query. They're going to just talk to the system, and the system is going to be able to do it. So that's why we were the first solution actually in DX that was able to release Assist. And the first version of Assist actually was not very good. If you look at the benchmarks, it was actually pretty bad. The second version was already pretty good. And now the third version, I think we are 80%. And actually, they just told me yesterday that actually Assist is able to pass all the certifications that we have on the website. It's able to actually get 10 out of 10 in NQL coding. So it's really advanced. So I think we did that. We did a good job there in mixing DEX and AI, but we continue working a lot on the possibilities. I think again, coming back to our new agent Spark that we're gonna give to every single employee, we are just trying to understand, how we're gonna make it more personable, more personalized, which other sources of information we need to pull to make sure that we are able to solve every single question that an employee will have in the future. So that's important. We're very excited about that, obviously.
So one thing that science tells us is that evolution never stops, right? Nexthink is now evolving into its next age, a new and exciting chapter. AI, you could also say that AI maybe is at the birth of the dawn of a new age of AI as it continues to evolve. Where do you see AI headed in the future? What's your vision of AI shaping the world of not only enterprise IT employees, but all employees that are interacting with a digital workplace? What are things going to look like for them in the future?
Look, I'm part of the group of people that I'm quite optimistic about AI. I'm quite optimistic about the capabilities and the potential of AI. Like any other technology, there is a bad side. We can we can exaggerate this bad side, but at the end of the day, it's a super powerful tool, which is able to do wonderful things in education, in healthcare, in obviously in IT. That's what we do at Nexthink. I'm, you know, almost everybody now with all these AI technologies can really have a very um, personalized coach on anything. That's incredible when we compare where we were 20 years ago to now that we're able to ask a question about anything and they're coming back with a pretty good advice and pretty good pointers on how to do things. I think that's fantastic. It's much more there's much more goodness than bad things there. There is certainly a danger in the future how much we're going to automate, but I always say the following. I think in every revolution, productivity brought some sort of prosperity. And the companies that they are using AI today, they are hiring a lot of people. Nexthink is getting 20-30% productivity in the R&D, and still we are hiring a lot of developers. We are not eliminating jobs. It's the opposite, because you have many more ideas and the number of ideas are really limitless. So the more you can get productivity, the more you can get new ideas done, right? And that's the approach of many companies really investing in AI. So I'm really positive about it.
That's great to hear. So let's bring it all together with Nexthink as a company and a platform, DEX as an IT discipline and a market, a segment, and its intersection with AI. There's barely an industry in the world that we don't expect to be transformed by AI in some way over the next few years. But what is distinct for you about DEX? What makes these two forces of AI and DEX especially complementary? Why can't you do a digital employee experience capability without AI? Why do they? What makes them so necessarily complementary to each other?
I think what has changed fundamentally is if we take DEX, digital employee experience, and again, we go back to what is it? Is to really look at the world from the employee's eyes. It's really, is this, the reason why DEX was created is because we said, look, we need to understand how employees are consuming digital services, how employees they are experiencing all these technologies, what is hindering their productivity, how we can make them better professionals with digital applications, all these type of questions, right? So really the true intersection between people and technology. So with AI, the fact that now we have LLMs, that they also can create this bridge between people and technology, right? Because you can ask questions with natural language, which is people, and they can tap into databases of very technical data and give answers to that. So this nexus, this link between people and technology is very similar to the DEX link. So if you put them together, you can create fantastic new technologies like what I just said, right? The span, the ability to really solve any IT problem, right? In a personalized way for every single employee. You don't need to open tickets. Why do you even need an ITSM solution if this works, right? Why do you even need to call the service desk? Maybe the 1% case, right, which is something very exceptional. But these models today, they are able to to solve questions at PhD level. Of course, they're able to solve questions on an IT level and digital application level. And I think it's a tremendous opportunity for this domain.
Thinking, Pedro, about AI transformation company by company, what do you think is going to separate those companies who thrive in this new era with those that struggle, with those that perhaps even ultimately fail to adapt and grow?
I think, my opinion, like any other change, we need to embrace. We need to be open-minded. I think sometimes there is a little bit of a skepticism, because the challenge with AI, like the challenge with any new technology, is you need to invest for a few years before you get the ROI. And we see a lot of companies that they're saying, I gave Copilot to all my employees and I'm not seeing the productivity improvements. Well, wait a couple of years. Make sure that people, they adopt AI. Make sure they understand, they make their decisions with, the power of AI coaching them, or give a little bit of time so, AI can be automated with APIs and all that, so you can really improve processes. I think they're looking for short-term ROI. That's a mistake. There are other companies that they are looking at AI as an investment for the next 2-3 years, and I think they're approaching that in the right way. I'm a little bit worried about the over-regulation. I think there are some countries, less companies, that they are over regulating AI before even having AI. They are worried about the impact of AI. Okay, let's first have AI. Let's see if there is some danger, and then we can regulate. So, you know, these are some of the mistakes that I'm seeing. I, I do think there is also a little bit of, oh, AI is here and there is a lot of jobs, they're going to be eliminated. Look, uh, there is autopilots in planes that still will have pilots, right? That they are able to oversee many of these planes. Somebody told me the other day about radiologist, right? One of the first use cases of AI was really about eliminating the need for a radiologist. So, AI will be able to diagnose all these things with computer vision. Well, that's not really true. I mean, AI is a tool for a radiologist, but still there are the same number of radiologists in the hospital. So I think we need to be a little bit, and there will be some jobs that it will change, and maybe jobs that they are more repetitive, more busy work, that probably they are not jobs with a lot of fulfillment, right, for those who do them. But I think overall I'm very optimistic. It would be an excellent tool to do your job much better.
And when we think about the transformation over the next year or two in particular at individual companies, IT arguably finds itself in a uniquely powerful, influential position. How should IT leaders be approaching this challenge and this opportunity? And what principles should they have to help their companies be as successful as possible?
I think, as I said before, I think it's really important for leaders to understand that they need to invest, and they need to put any investment, any transformation and investment in 3 to 5 years horizon, and understanding really how they will transform, and the ROI, how the ROI will materialize in 3 to 5 years, not in 6 months, right? That's one thing. The second really is maybe demystifying a little bit AI is really a great way to automate things, right? Like there are factories that they are automating a lot of things, computers, they were automating a lot of things. So I think they have to use it as a tool, and they need to understand what are the processes that they are very repetitive. Uh, Again, customer service, probably service desk, IT service desk, they are excellent candidates because they are very repetitive processes, right? And get these maybe quick wins in these processes that they are great candidates for AI, and then from there they can go to the next level. That's the two things that I'm seeing best leaders do in this area.
One thing I've heard you talk about a lot down the years, Pedro, is about the importance of like there being a harmonization between technology and employees, right? And with an emphasis on technology serving the employee, not overwhelming the employee. As AI becomes more powerful, more embedded, how do we ensure that that balance continues to be at play? And how important is that balance in the ultimate success of AI transformation in businesses?
I think for me, people and AI are two different things. I think we need to understand that the motivations of AI, the AI agents are not workers. Some people they mix them. AI agents, they don't have feelings, they don't have motivations, they don't have career dreams, they don't have a skin in the game. There's
Yeah.
absolutely no skin in the game for an AI agent, you know. So obviously they can do things in processes, they can automate a lot of things, but it's still humans. We have a lot of skin in the game, right? We have emotions, we have creativity, we are able to link things from one place to another to bring up, maybe to take risks. And that's a completely different skill. So this balance, I think, it starts by understanding that humans and AI workers or AI agents, as they say today, are two different things, very different. I think one is really a tool, the other is really humans, right? Which we are at the core of any business.
That's a really cool way of putting it. And final question for you, Pedro. Final question of our 200th episode. What's the most exciting thing as we head into 2026 about being Nexthink's CEO today? And I actually wrote on my question CIO, which is incorrect.
Yeah, you demoted him. Pedro, you got demoted.
Sorry to tell you this.
There are so many things. I mean, I'm really excited about this new possibility to give an IT agent to every single employee. I mean, employees, when they have problems today, they're opening tickets, they're waiting for 2 days. This is their teams, they are coming back 2 days later, 2 days later, and they're saying, "Oh, I don't have the problem anymore." And this couldn't really cannot continue for more years. I think we can really revolutionize and change the game there. So finally expose all the power of DEX to every single employee. So that's really a mission that is very close to our hearts. Democratizing DEX. So using DEX information to many other departments, HR, network, security. I think that's something is gonna be really big. I'm always very excited about working with my team and obviously everyone inside the company. We have the I have the privilege to really have a very talented team in every single area, including you guys.
Appreciate you.
No, I learn a lot from you, and I learn a lot from everybody at Nexthink. And this is really a true pleasure every morning. So I'm really excited about that as well. So yeah, and a lot of innovation also that we are planning for the next couple of years. The team in Switzerland actually are stoppable and unstoppable in terms of innovation. That's really amazing. And not only in India, right? Not only in Lausanne, by the way, also in India, in Spain, across the board. We're seeing all this innovation, mixing DEX, AI, feedback from customer is really unbelievable. Now the hard job is really to prioritize, some of these ideas because we want to be really impactful. So yeah, we are really excited about the next 3 years.
Absolutely. And hopefully the show is too. And look, I just want to say, if the listeners, right, this is, I think, the only episode that's been late in those 200 episodes. So we're really sorry about that. But we hope you feel it was worth the wait. And I'm going to say a very, very short Oscar speech here and just thank everybody, obviously customers and partners, for supporting the show, for coming on the show. Every guest, every influencer who's come on, we're hugely grateful. Everybody who listens to the show, all the people in the community who support them, people like Stuart and Dan at Gartner. We really, really appreciate everybody's support. Of course, to the show team itself, Catherine Shea, Ella Dreimer in particular, are phenomenal producers over so many years, as well as the Reality Bites team, Megan, Oriana, Dina, Sean, Sam Holzman. I'm sure people remember Sam. And I want to thank some Nexthinkers past and present who also helped to sort of establish the show, who had the idea for the show, not least Ebba Calderon, Yassine Zaid, Heather Moses, and of course, our guest today, yourself, Pedro Bados. We're so grateful to everybody, hoping we can do another 200 episodes. And it's really our pleasure. And thanks for coming on, Pedro.
Thank you very much. Big names you just mentioned there. Great.
100%.
Yeah, a lot of all-stars there. I couldn't have said it any better, Tom. You wrapped it up really well. And thanks to all the listeners, too, the ones that come up to us at the events and want to not only talk about DEX and talk about Nexthink, but I've even had listeners come up and want to talk about the episode where we talked about music and we talk about music trends and favorites for 20 minutes. And it's really great to be able to have this platform to reach out to audiences. So thanks for listening.
Thank you all so much, man. Yeah, great pleasure. Bye.
To make sure that you never miss an episode, subscribe to the show in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast player. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a rating of the show. Just tap the number of stars you think the podcast deserves. If you'd like to learn more about how Nexthink can help you improve your digital employee experience, head over to nexthink.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.